Ladies and gentlemen, the question today is, did I buy the right Miata? For those who don't know, I have a 2024 Mazda Miata Club in Soul Red Crystal with the Brembo BBS Recaro package, and that package alone adds $4,500 to the MSRP. Right now, I'm not driving my Miata. This is a 2024 Grand Touring in Aero Gray with Napa leather, tan Napa leather. And this car has received multiple compliments over the last week of me driving it. This has an MSRP at $34,000 with an $800 upcharge for the Aero Gray with tan Napa leather. So the reason I'm raising this question is there are three tiers of Miata. You have you have Sport, Club, and Grand Touring. Now the Club does not have an LSD. It's very bare bones, it's the cheapest one, but many people who actually track their Miata and want to modify their car will start with the Sport because they save money. They can get their own OS Geigen LSD, they can add their own bucket seats, the exact ones they want, etc., etc. And that's a good way to be saving money, to not be paying additionally for things you're not going to use, since they can add their own big brake kit rather than using the Brembos. They can get their own bucket seats rather than using the Recaros in the Club with the BPR package, right? And they may want their own wheels that are wider than the BBS, so they can get more, a wider section width, get more rubber on the road. So that's the argument for Sport. For Club, I mean, it's the sporty trim for those that want the enthusiast package, the Brembo BBS Recaro, or the BBR package is what we call it for short. That's the one that you want if you're willing to justify the $4,500, because that's not nearly as good of a deal as some of the packages you see with BRZs and GR86s when you get way better dampers and a big brake kit for something like $2,000. And then there's the Grand Touring. And the Grand Touring was never really even on my radar, but after driving this, I'm like, dude, there are a couple things here I very much enjoy. The first, climate control. I think it is quite irritating that I paid close to $40K for my car and they did not give me a simple climate control. It's not even dual zone, just simple, non-digital, dial-controlled climate control, which is how I control the HVAC in my other cars. I just dial this up or down if I'm feeling hot or cold, and I don't have to deal with fan speed or temperature or anything like that, or even where the air comes from. It's just automatic, and I like that. And I understand that the Club is the enthusiast driver's package, not the comfort, but in 2024 for $40K, I think asking for climate control is not too much. Also, auto headlights. My car does not have auto headlights, which I think is also extremely silly in 2024 for almost 40 grand. Just adds extra convenience, and how much cost does it actually add to Mazda? I think it's more just a way for them to differentiate the lineup rather than the actual cost savings to not include that. The other thing is the auto dimming rear view, which I actually prefer the traditional, because if you have the auto dimming, when it goes into its dim setting, it's not as dark as the traditional rear view where you actually push the tab and it angles the mirror slightly. But the thing I miss here is having HomeLink. It gives you the buttons for your garage, which is a really nice convenience. And then the final thing that is actually probably the biggest deal is the thicker insulation in the soft top. So I'm pretty set on soft top only, since I'm tracking the car and I don't fit in an RF, so I can't track that. Or rather, I should say I can't fit in an RF with a helmet on. That's why I can't track it. And the level of insulation in the Grand Touring and the soft top, they say, hey, it's a little bit thicker, it has a little bit better road noise. I thought it was just going to be a minor difference. It is quite substantial and quite noticeable. In the other Miata, I feel the need to wear my AirPods, even if I'm not playing music, just to bring down the volume of the road noise a little bit. And if I'm talking to someone as a passenger, I am speaking quite loud. But here, it's to the point where you don't feel like you need to raise your voice. You're just having a regular conversation. Is it still noisier than a regular passenger vehicle, an NPC mobile? Of course. But it is substantially quieter than my Club with the soft top. other thing you have to keep in mind is that this is a couple grand more expensive than the Club, which is why it has the creature comforts, the climate control, auto, this, that, you know. But if you get the Club with the BBR package, which adds $4,500 to the price, that then goes up, right? So Club with BBR, I believe, is $38,000. This, as spec, is $35,000. If you want a different color combination, you can get it for $34,000. Although this color combo is, again, received the most compliments in the last week. People are loving it. And the reason why I'm happy with my Club, do I wish I could have gotten it in British Racing Green with tan leather interior? Of course, but that's just not an option. Also keep in mind that with the Club, with the BBR, you are not able to choose different color interior. It's only going to be black, which for most of you is totally fine, and for me it's actually fine. I think black goes well with red, and the red is absolutely gorgeous. But the reason why I'm very happy with the Club and why I went with Club is because I knew that I was going to be driving it stock for at least several months, and I'd be driving it hard in the canyons, I'd be doing comparisons with other cars, I'd be using it in a different city than Las Vegas, where my girlfriend lives, as my dual duty vehicle, where I'll be tracking it and just using it as my daily, if you will, even though I work remote. And I think having those added performance features, and these are good seats, don't get me wrong, these are actually totally adequate seats, but the Brembos are better seats, especially if you're gonna be driving the car harder, and if you're taking it to the track. They're a great hybrid seat for dual duty, where they're not so uncomfortable as a traditional bucket, but they're more supportive than these seats. So I wish someone had explained to me the 3 levels of Miata in this way, and why even driving enthusiasts sometimes get the Sport, because, and I was like, why would I want to get the Sport? I can't even, you know, it doesn't have an LSD. But if you're gonna track it and rip everything out and get your own coilovers and brakes and seats and your own LSD, then that actually might be the more economical choice. But again, if you're like me, you're gonna be using it not just as a dedicated track toy, but you also want to drive it on the road. I think Club with BBR is an excellent package, but if you want something that is more comfort focused and you don't plan on taking it to the track, then the Grand Touring gets my vote, because I do think that these added creature comforts bring a lot to the daily drivability, to the comfort of the vehicle. So my friends, let me know what you think of the 3 levels of Miata. Did I choose right, or should I have done the Sport or the Grand Touring instead? Leave a comment down below. If you want your car reviewed, visit us on JabalaandCars.com. Fill out the form on the homepage. Big thanks to Mazda for loaning me this vehicle. Much love, and I'll see you all in that next one.